Alright, so The Walking Dead Season 11 Part 2 of 3. These are the next episodes. These are episodes 9 to 16 in the final season. Now, in my Part 1 review, I said I was worried that the show wasn't really moving the plot line along quick enough. It felt a little bit too slow paced considering this was the last season of the show. And I'm afraid that is still the case here with Season 2. It did improve it slightly though with some solid episodes, but ultimately it's still not doing enough. Barring the episodes near the start of this Part 2 that revolved around Eugene and his love life, which was just really boring, this part even is definitely an improvement. The plotline revolving around Daryl, Gabriel, Aaron, Lance, that's all very interesting. I really enjoyed those episodes. There was like a couple, 2 or 3 episodes that really sort of stuck with those as they were going through some interesting plots. But of course we can't really get enough time with those characters because the show is juggling so many characters, and therefore you've got to shoehorn in a lot of subplots. And these subplots, they're Carol, they're Eugene, they're Ezekiel, they're not that interesting. I couldn't really care about the antics that are going on within the Commonwealth. It's not that interesting. And whilst there's something dodgy going on within the Commonwealth, it's not actually that interesting to be within the Commonwealth because it's meant to be like the world was before the apocalypse. So everything you see in there is just, normal everyday life, normal everyday drama with some suspicion thrown in. But of course, this is The Walking Dead, so it's not the first time that we've seen the whole something ain't right about this place. We've seen that several times whenever our heroes come across a community or a new group. There's always that doubt. And the characters within the Commonwealth are really trying to expose the corruption. I just couldn't really care about it. I'm not really that fussed. Whatever the Commonwealth is doing, it's not going to be anything more crazy than we've seen from past groups like the Cannibals or the Saviors. The only thing that was really keeping this part 2 exciting was the fact that tension was rising between the Hilltop and the Commonwealth because the Hilltop don't want to join. Maggie is very adamant that she doesn't want to join, and there was potential there for a good conflict to really break through and make this part exciting. But when it came to it, it was quite underwhelming. The thing that stayed the most interesting, I'd say, was Daryl's position in all of this, because he is working for the Commonwealth as one of their stormtrooper soldiers, yet he never really has to wear his armor. I think that's because us as viewers would never know which one he is, so they just keep him out of it all the time. Well, a majority of the time at least, but I liked his role in this part. He was definitely the most interesting character in part 2 because he's kind of stuck in the middle where he needs to serve Lance and the Commonwealth, but he also needs to protect his friends who the Commonwealth are going after. Lance is a decent villain, you can see he's plotting stuff, you can see he's got something sinister inside him, but on top of that, he's not that big a deal compared to other villains that we've seen in the past. He's not bringing anything all that new, just someone that pretends he's nice, and then you can see that deep down he's not that nice. He kind of summarizes the show right now, which is there's potential, but it's not hitting the potential. He's someone that could be good, but he's mediocre. Same with the show. And with good characters being hard to come by in this final season of The Walking Dead, it's a shame with what they've done with Negan, which is kind of cut him out, given him a wife, given him a baby on the way, and then kind of turned him into a sissy when he used to be a badass. It's not like he's a pussy now or anything, but he's just not in the picture. He's not the guy we know. He's not the fighter. He's not the warrior. He's just sort of, I want to protect my wife and stuff, man. It doesn't feel like it suited him, so I'm disappointed about that. Another thing I'm disappointed about is that they ran with this Leah character even more in this part 2. Obviously, she disappeared initially, but then she came back to complete her storyline with Maggie, the beef they have, the beef that was created like a few episodes back and then is completed now. And their final showdown together in the last episode of part 2 was just underwhelming and predictable. Leah had every chance to kill Maggie. We knew that wasn't going to happen because this show doesn't do surprises like it used to. It doesn't kill off main characters like it used to. And The Walking Dead's famous divine intervention stepped in as Leia met a bullet just when she was about to kill Maggie. And in this finale, the Commonwealth have taken over. They've taken over Hilltop. They've taken over Alexandria. They've gone to that beach lake town place, wherever it's called, where it's really boring, and Lance is flipping a coin like he's Harvey Dent, deciding whether their fate will be to live or die. I know I've just slagged off pretty much the entirety of part 2, but it was an improvement. Those couple of episodes were actually very good and it gave me hope, and it was definitely more interesting than part 1. But the problem is we've seen 16 episodes of this season and there are 8 left. You know, we've seen 2/3 of it and it doesn't feel like much has happened. The chances of a Rick and Michonne return are very slim. I don't see it happening now. All I see is kind of a predictable final battle outcome where our heroes have to take on the Commonwealth, expose them for what they are. There might be a few minor deaths, but eventually they win. And then that'll be like a happily ever after where our characters have taken over the Commonwealth and then all's good in the hood. I'd be surprised if it ended any other way. I mean, I'm not sure what happens in the comics. I don't look into it because I don't really want to know, and they'll probably alter it anyway, but regardless, I just can't see anything like too exciting coming out. I imagine part 3 will be the best of the 3 parts, but honestly this show just isn't what it used to be. When you watch an episode of The Walking Dead now and then you watch like an episode of The Walking Dead from season 2, it doesn't feel like it's the same show. They feel so far off, so far different. There's barely a zombie threat anymore. That's like completely eliminated. It's just human drama and it's not even that interesting. Overall, I would give part 2 of The Walking Dead season 11 a 6.5 out of 10. If you've seen part 2, let me know about it. If you haven't, I don't blame you. This show is suffering. I thought it was on the up. I thought it had a bit of potential, you know, to really just go for a push and not end spectacularly, because it's never going to match what it used to be, but just end decent, you know, hit some 8 out of 10 episodes and, you know, give us a nice, cool finale. But I'm not a fan of the storyline they've chosen, and I can't really see it leading to anything that memorable. Either way, I've been Joe Squared. Thank you for watching. Leave a like, leave a comment, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.